Welcome back everyone to the channel. This week we're making something sweet and we're going to discover something that is called the flognard. The flognard is a close relative of the cherry clafoutis, which is a kind of a cherry flan, a cherry pudding coming from central France. That recipe is also coming from central France, same location, but the name flognard is given when you make that recipe without using cherries. Mainly here, this is made either with apples, prunes, pears, and even sometimes apricots. The other thing that changes is that the flognard is a bit of a really rustic countryside affair. There's no real rules, it's much more laid back. So ingredients, it is similar to a crepe batter that can be either thin or a bit thicker, depending on how you like it. And then with that, you just pick a fruit, put it into the batter, pour this into a container of any kind, kind of a little dish, and cook this in the oven, and you're done. So there's nothing complex, as you will discover. I will be making here two versions to show you the two main flavors that we have. I'm going to make one with apple and one with the prune, because the prune is like really a classic and it's ultra super easy. So let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do here is to make the batter. So we're using a bowl and we're going to start by adding the dry ingredients. So I've got first the flour. So the flour, you want to sift it. After that we're going to have the sugar and the salt, okay? And we're going to mix everything together. And then we've got eggs on the side. I'm going to beat them with a fork and I'm going to add them in. Okay, that in the middle, up, and we're going to whisk. Now for the whisking, you start from the middle and you go in circular motion like this and you grab some flour as you go. And to avoid any clumps or anything like this. So a bit of time. And we keep on going until almost all the flour is in before we add the milk. Once you're done, you've got a base batter that's kind of thick, you see, it's nice and smooth. And all what you need to do from here is to add the milk. Now typically the milk is added cold, like straight into it, like a crepe batter. But I've learned a little trick from a little grandma trick from that recipe, is that it is best to actually warm up the milk first, so that the batter is not really cold when we put it in the oven. We have it already kind of nice and warm, so it's gonna hit the ground running and really set very fast and have this good bubbling effect in the oven. So I'm gonna warm up the milk and I'm gonna add some butter into it. So really nothing complex on here, small pan, all of the milk in, and typically, your grandma trick again, a good tablespoon of butter in here. I'm gonna bring this to a light boil and that's it. My milk has had a very light boil, the butter is melted, that's it. I'm turning the heat off, we're adding this to the batter. Very nice. Whisking a little bit of that. I'm going to take my milk in here. And bit by bit, I'm going to add it in. Now the other little trick at the end, you always add a little bit of liquor. Typically rum is good, I don't have any today. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of Kirsch. Kirsch, no, it's German liquor. I like it for that kind of thing. And we're going to leave this to rest now for a good 15 minutes or 20 minutes really to improve the batter. And I'm going to take up the fruit. Now for the fruit, it is very straightforward. I'm going to make a prune version and an apple version. For the prune, all what you need to do is to soak the prune. I'm soaking them here in cherry, which is like port wine. But you can use Armagnac, cognac, brandy, or even warm water if you don't want to use any alcohol. And that's all you need to do. You need to let them to soak like 15 minutes. And then we add this into the batter and we cook. We're done. If you make an apple one, you can choose an apple that's either acidic, this is a jazz apple, or something a bit more sweet like the Gala apple. And you can peel them, core the apple, and either slice the apple thinly and add them into the dish, or cut the apples in medium-sized chunk. It is up to you. You can put the apple raw, or you can pre-cook the apple like I'm going to do now on the stove in a bit of butter, some sugar, and you can add some liquor into this, but this is a bit of an extra step. Okay, so for me here, let me show you how I'm making the apple my way. Okay, so for me, my preference is to have the apple in chunks. So I've quartered the apples, cut them into chunks, and here they're sitting in a bath of lemons. I've added some lemon juice in here and to mix the whole lot and avoid discoloration. And I'm just going to do a quick saute in butter and sugar in a pan. Let's go. So nothing complex for the apple. A pan, a good tablespoon of butter, high heat. And I'm adding my apple. I don't want to add too much lemon juice. And I'm going to saute this for what, maybe 5 minutes or something like this, just to color the apple slightly. when it starts to change after 2 minutes or something, a little sprinkle of sugar because I want some caramelization. And that's gonna be it. We'll continue cooking, and I might do a little flambé for the end. Okay, almost done. So I'm gonna add some calvados in here. Up, bit of a flambé. And that's it. My heat is off, so just after the flambé, we got some coloration on here. And that's all we need. We're not destroying the apple. We don't want to melt them away because they still need to cook for a good 15-20 minutes in the oven into the batter. So I'm gonna transfer this into a little bowl, and we're ready. So once you're here, you've got your batter ready and your fruits that are ready, you're good to go. So if you like to wait for instance, some guests to arrive or anything like that, and you can leave everything like this, even at room temperature, it's fine. And you cover this with a towel. And whenever you're ready, well, you pick a dish, you prepare it, and then you bake. So let me show you now how to prepare the dish. Now, when it comes to the dishes, well, it is said that you can use any kind of dish, such as ceramic, porcelain, tart pan, or anything like this. Let me tell you that cast iron is the only thing that's going to give you the true result with the batter bubbling up, coloring, etc., etc., because it captures the heat, it keeps the heat, and it heats up in an instant compared to these things. If you use this, you're going to end up with some kind of a flat cake looking like thing. If you use that, you're going to have this kind of bubbling, crazy pizza-like kind of look. Totally different. So my preference, cast iron, small one individual, large skillet for 3 or 4. And now let's prepare the dish. Remember, when it comes to baking, even something simple like this, you cannot put your guard down until you cross the finish line. So we've got the right dish, so we're going to put all the success on our side, the easy stuff. And the thing we're going to do here, wash your hands, and we're going to generously, let me reiterate, generously coat this with butter absolutely everywhere on the inside. Once your pan has been coated with butter, it doesn't matter if it's a small one or a big one, you're going to do a coating of sugar. So you start making, I'm using a plate under, so there's plenty of sugar in here, absolutely everywhere. And I'm just going to tap the excess, okay? That's the end result. Now that you've got the pan ready and the fruit, we're almost ready to bake. You're going to preheat your oven at 200 degrees, and keep in mind that this is something called a dish that is à la minute, on demand. I mean, if you want to impress friends, you can do it at the last minute in the kitchen, maybe for a date night. You want to impress, you disappear in the kitchen, oh, let me make something quickly. Boom, you make this in an instant, it's going to come out wonderful. All right, but before we can assemble, there's one last thing we need to do with the batter. So just before we assemble and we bake this, very important, that applies to all kinds of batter, crepe batters and this batter. After it's resting, you will see that now my batter is liquid, but it's kind of thickish. See, look how it coats the thing. That's too thick. If you use something like this, you're gonna end up with a cake. Now that's going towards the cake batter too much. So what you do, just before, you add up to a 50 ml or more of milk to get back that kind of watery style kind of batter. You see? Before it was really coated, see how it's much thinner there? That's what you want. So we're gonna use the prunes. So I'm having my dish on here. I'm really draining the excess of juice that I've got in there. And when I'm done, I'm just gonna cover the whole lot. It's a bit like making crepes, like pancakes. So sort of cover, not too much. You want to see them a little bit like this. Boom. And that goes straight into the oven. Cooking time, it should not take more than 10 minutes. 200 degrees Celsius, let's go. Whew, very hot, just out of the oven. I'm trying to turn it around to show you. And this is the effect of the cast iron skillets. It has to be served really warm, so what you can do, you can bring this to the table straight away. Be careful, that's very, very hot. As you can leave it to cool down a little bit, and then we can dig in. So we'll prepare an apple one after that, and then some degustation. So once it's all cooled down, it's deflating. I'm gonna have a quick bite here in the kitchen with this one, and then we'll do the apple. I've got a whole setup with a nice background for the apple, but just to give you a first look, it's like a kind of a, it's a bit like a pancake, as you can see. Okay, and then you just bite in when it's really warm. So for the apple, exact same process, same amount, and keep in mind the amount of apple is half an apple per person. The other one took me 12 minutes. Let's have a look how long this one takes. Whoa, very hot, just out of the oven, and really the magic of the cast iron happened, almost like a pizza. You can see all of these things. So I'm gonna leave it to cool down for just a few minutes before we can dig in. Well, so when you leave it to cool, the problem you see it deflates. So it's still very hot, but I had to kind of wait and And it's that's like that skillet what I like, that it's hot. It's that kind of one person thing, and then you get it, ooh, kind of gooey slash elastic slash delicious, kind of apple flan here. It's really like a crepe, but more sugar. The more sugar, the better. So let me have some more. But it's hot. Further away. Wow. Honestly, caramelized, kind of gooey, nice. You can adjust the consistency if you want it to be a bit more runny, a bit more flan-like, more milk, more fruits if you want. Huh? See, the apples are nicely cooked with the technique in the pan. And it's really good. Well, by now I'm totally full with the prunes and apple fionnaise, very buttery and indulgent, but what a result. If you've never tried it, honestly, it is worth the experience. The batter can be done thinner, thicker, it is up to you to decide different size, in small skillets, larger one, there's plenty of freedom. So if you try the recipe, let me know what you think in the comment section, and of course, if you want to see more of those, let me know, and subscribe to the channel not to miss any of these new format videos. I'm really trying to make them a little bit shorter. And that's it for me. I'll see you next time. Take care all. Bye bye.